I hope everybody had an amazing Christmas and, well, really has had an amazing 2025 as this year is getting ready to come to a close and it's been quite an amazing ride, just like some of the wild and crazy rides we're going to witness in this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Now, as we've mentioned many times before, you never know what to expect out there in a day of boating. Anytime you go out there and go for a ride, sometimes you're going to have some really high highs, but that doesn't mean you can't have some pretty low lows as well. Now, there are plenty of ways for your boating day to come to a halt when out there on the water, and one of the easiest and quickest ways for that day to come to a halt is to get out there and hit something a little hard. Yes, I know typically when you think about going out and hitting the sandbar for a day on the boat, that sounds like a fun time, but it doesn't always quite work out that way, especially when you don't intentionally wind up on the sandbar. Which is one reason you always gotta pay attention when you're out there on the water. I mean, you're out there to enjoy yourself and have fun and live in the moment. So really pay attention to where you're going and what you're doing. One of the easiest ways to make sure you're living in that moment is by not being on your cell phone. When you're on the water, put the cell phone down. Enjoy your time. Live in your moment and your peace while you're out there on the water versus keeping that nose buried into a phone or a tablet. Another quick way to end the day on the water, unexpectedly, well, that's forgetting the old drain plug. That's right. The Drain Plug Mafia itself will come out there and steal your drain plug if you're not subscribed to this channel, even though we're not the number one culprit. The number one culprit of not having a drain plug on the boat, well, that's going to be you. That's right, captains. Most of the time, we are the ones who wind up taking that drain plug out and either misplacing it, forgetting what we did with it, or definitely forgetting to put it back in, especially when it comes to a new season of boating. This is the time we see people miss it the most. Coming back out of this winter season we're in now, you start forgetting some of those basics that you're supposed to remember when you head out there boating. And one of the easiest basics to remember, especially on that first launch, is gonna be that drain plug, because it's the one time you pretty much know you're gonna pull it out. If the boat's gonna sit for months, you wind up pulling it out to make sure that hole drains and doesn't hold any water, and then when you go to relaunch, the next thing you know, it is full of water. Now, sometimes that boating day will come to an end before we get to the ramp. And then, of course, there are those really bad days on the water where the boating day winds up coming to an end because you wind up hitting something.
Oh, dude, what the? Holy, look at this, bro. What? The mast came down.
Then some days your boating day will come to a stop before you can even leave the dock because somebody else decided to hit you.
Just get ready to go.
Now, some stops to your boating day will just be a slight pause as somebody decides to cut you off. Now, of course, many days your boating day will come to a stop at the boat ramp, exactly where it belongs to come to a stop. But what winds up happening here is people get a little complacent at the boat ramp. You think the day's over, you've successfully completed it, but you haven't yet. So always stay in your P's and Q's, make sure to pay attention to what you're doing, because the last thing you want to do is in the closing seconds of your boating day, make a critical mistake that all of a sudden really is going to bring the boating day to a halt, but not the way you wanted to finish the day. Now, we often get asked how these things happen, and they really are just typically simple mistakes. Somebody thought they were in park, but they were actually in reverse, or somehow the vehicle was left in neutral for some reason. And the biggest one, though, is going to be losing traction to the tires and just letting the vehicle slide right down the ramp.
It's a Ford F-150. was your Taco Bell.
Another way to end the day boating early is going to be letting one of your friends drive the boat. They all ask and say the same thing. I've been driving boats for 20 years. I know what I'm doing. And then for whatever reason, when you let them behind the wheel of your boat, it's like they forgot exactly what they told you they already knew, and they had no clue what they were doing. Or, of course, trying to clear a bridge when it's a little too low.
It's like really, really close. Yeah, we're good. Just go really, really slow. Like, go really, really slow. Really close. Like I'm bending down. I got a fishing line in my face.
I mean, there is definitely a fine line between really close and clearing a bridge and not so close and not clearing the bridge. Another quick way to end the day is playing around too much. And then, of course, there's always those times you forget to fill the boat up with gas and you run out and you got to figure out a quick way back to the dock.
Are we moving? Yes, are we moving? I'm bringing us in. We're making movement. You're really good. Get in the water here. I'm in the Olympic swim team. I got it.
And sometimes it'll just be a little bit of bad luck that ends the day. A little bit of weather, a little bit of things not going right at the marina.
Bad. They broke the window.
I mean, at least the good news is it appears the boat who's probably at fault is the one with the broken window, but man, somehow they crossed the anchor underneath the bow rail, looking like it's going to be a tough time getting out of here.
Gio said you can't park there. At least they broke their own window. What a bunch of idiots. Well, mistakes happen.
They must have been going in the boat accidentally, like. I don't know where the
Now, this really is one of those tricky situations. Let me know in the comments how you think you would handle this one. When I look at it as an assessment, for me, I think you go ahead and release the anchor and give it a little bit of slack and let the other boat start to reverse off and just pull that anchor away. Eventually, once there's a little less tension in there, you can get this thing picked up as it starts to pull away from the boat, and it should slide right underneath the rail, and they should be able to get her to let go at that point. They do eventually wind up getting this one off, but it does take quite some time. Thanks for watching, crew. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram at Broncos Guru and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Alexa Barquette, Holly Parkinson, Jordan Vale Pondo, Lucas Gomez, No Way Jose, The Mesmerizer, and Adam Coolidge did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.